Why do we buy cars like the Audi S3? After all, you can get most of the prestige, the technology and the looks from an S-line Audi A3. So why do we spend thousands of pounds extra on that little S badge at the back? Well, the answer, obviously, is performance. It's fast.
With a 0 to 62 mile an hour time of less than 5 seconds, the S3 is quicker than most other cars on the road, and because of that, it is in many people's eyes automatically better. However, the problem with having a fast car is that there's always someone who's got an even faster car. And indeed, you could spend even more money on an RS3, but then you're looking at over £50,000, and that's a lot for a hot hatch.
However, there is another way to get more power and performance from your S3 and make it as fast or even faster than an RS3, and it's called remapping. In very general terms, it involves rewriting part of the car's electronic brain to produce more power. It only costs a few £100s, and when you consider that you can get an extra 30% of power or even more from the same engine, then it starts to sound really intriguing.
To find out more, we've come down to Racing Line headquarters near Milton Keynes. Here, they specialise in tuning Volkswagen Group vehicles using the latest techniques and then sell their products via a network of dealers. Ben, who's their software director, talks us through what they can do.
So Ben, if I brought my Audi S3 into one of your dealers and said, I want more power, what would you do to it that gets that extra power?
So we've been working on our 8Y S3 and Golf 8R in order to get more power from the car. We do this with a Remap, which you've probably heard of, so tuning the actual ECU in the car. And we're looking at gaining around 100 horsepower and 100 newton meters of torque, which is a lot of power, obviously, from this car. And the cost is going to be £600 plus VAT.
Wow, okay, so that's a lot of extra performance for not very much money, considering that the S3 starts from about £40,000.
Yeah.
So, what are the downsides? What does that do to the fuel economy?
Fuel economy wise, certainly on a run, it'll be no worse. If you're using the performance all the time, of course, it's got to use more fuel to do that. So if you're hooning around the back lanes, it's probably going to use some more fuel compared to what you're used to. However, on a normal motorway run, I can tell you from our Golf 8R, I take that home sometimes and that will do 43, 44 on the motorway, which is really impressive, to be honest, for the amount of power you've got available.
Yeah, that's as good as it is standard.
A stack, yeah, exactly.
That's what I've had from the S3 as normal. But obviously you're getting more power from the same engine, and with the stage 1 tune that we spoke about, there's no hardware changes. So you're not upgrading any of the internals on the engine. So first question is it safe? Mm-hmm. And also the warranty, how does it affect the manufacturer warranty?
Definitely will affect the manufacturer's warranty, there's no two ways about that. However, they can't just say, you've got a remap, we're not covering that suspension spring that's broken. It's not that straightforward. Yeah. So there is an argument to have when that comes around. And I know of lots of people and companies that have had problems and been fixed under warranty with no problem at all. I also know of people who have had warranty claims denied. So it is very much a pay and play situation. Of course, Audi want you to buy the next model up. Instead of tuning the car you've got for £600. So it's a bit of a toss-up, and you have to think about that side of things. But it's one of those things.
But you reckon, say putting a stage 1 on the car, you reckon that's going to be safe? You're not going to...
In terms of safety, 100%. We've done a lot of development. We've had our Golf R the 8Y S3 actually for 2 years, and we've done all sorts of track testing, road testing, airfield testing. Loads and loads of logs till they're coming out of our ears, and analysing all that information to make sure it's all as good as it can be and that it's all within safe parameters. Yes, we are getting more from the car, of course, but it's on our name to make sure that we do a good job and to make sure that what we're selling is safe. Of course, there's always a possibility that a standard car may go wrong. It's one of those things, and I understand that's where the warranty side comes in. But if you look after the car correctly, and as most enthusiast owners of cars like an S3 these days do, I really don't think you'll have any problems at all.
So we've heard what a remap could mean for your Audi S3, But how does that work in practice? Well, to find out, Racing Line have kindly lent me their Volkswagen Golf R demonstrator that's running a Stage 1 map, and that boosts power from around 320 to 417 horsepower. Okay, no, it's not an Audi S3, but as we know, the Golf R and S3 share the same EA AAA engine, so it's fair to say that, broadly speaking, any improvements from standard will also be achievable in the Audi.
Right, so this is the first time I've ever driven a mapped Golf R or Audi S3. I've heard for years about people mapping VW Group products and getting so much extra power and performance out of it, but I've never actually driven one because, as you can imagine, press cars are all bone stock. So this is going to be a really interesting experiment. And actually, I've recently driven a stock Golf R, so I've got a nice benchmark to put it against. And just coming out of the Racing Line headquarters car park, the engine noise is just, I think, a little bit deeper, a little bit more serious sounding maybe. And I could detect maybe a little bit more turbo noise, nice turbo noise. And it's maybe at low speed, the low speed manners and refinement, not quite as smooth or polished as a stock Golf R, but I'm talking a very, very small difference. It is still an absolute doddle to drive, and to be honest with you, if you weren't driving them back to back, I'm not sure you're really going to notice. It's still an incredibly easy car to just drive around in and sit on a dual carriageway at 70 miles an hour. So good thing is it still feels like a Golf R when you're driving normally, and that means it's pretty damn good. Okay, so we've got a bit of space now. Put it into second gear, and yeah, it makes a difference. That extra 100 horsepower or so, funnily enough, makes a difference. It broke traction, which don't usually get in an all-wheel drive Golf R. That was something. The power, the responses from the throttle to actually getting that response from the engine, that feels quickened up. Sounds louder somehow, considering its augmented engine sound. It did sound a bit louder, but it's just a much more kind of ferocious pull to the 7,000 RPM-ish red line. It was really banging through the gears then. Wow. It's just more urgent, and it's a really nice build-up of power. It's linear, but that's sometimes a way of saying, well, it's spread out, it doesn't kick you in the back, but that really does. Right, it gains speed. Wow.
So the mapped Golf R feels significantly quicker and more drivable. But how does that work out in terms of cold, hard numbers?
Right, so we're on the drag strip, or the runway, and I've got an app called Draggy, which is going to measure the times. So if I set it there, put it in there so it doesn't move, get the launch control going. This is the stock car, remember, so as it comes out of the factory, launch control active, off we go. Still gets away really well. Forget how quick it is. I was driving the tuned version. That's 100, very quick. That's 120, and let's call it a day at 130. Woo. Wow. Let's have a look. That was 0 to 60, 4.1 seconds, quarter mile, 21 seconds. Sorry, quarter mile, 12.3 seconds. That was a half mile. So, the Stage 1 car has got a 4.1 second 0 to 60 mile an hour time to beat and a quarter mile time of 12.3 seconds. Okay, so now we've got the Stage 1 map on. I'm going to do the same thing again. So launch control is on. We've got another 100 horsepower pretty much. Launch control on. Off we go. So 60 mile an hour already. 80, 90, feels quick. The traction was still very good off the line. 120. And that's 140 miles an hour. Bouncy runway. Right, let's see where we are if we just come to a halt. So we can see that it's done 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds and the quarter mile in 11.9, which is a little bit quicker. The runway's colder, which has probably made a difference for the traction off the line. It did spin the wheels a bit more, but that is an improvement. And for 600 quid, you've got a car that does 0 to 60 miles an hour in less than 4 seconds.
A small difference in times then, but one that I definitely felt from inside the car. In the mapped version, I was shocked at how quickly it gained speed and sailed past 140 miles an hour. Remember, this is a family hatchback with the factory engine components.
So the main takeaway from today is that if you've got a Golf R or an Audi S3, it's pretty damn quick already. But as we know, that's not always enough, and some people want even more performance. But then the price to get even more performance, if you go for the RS3 for example, it's quite a lot more money. So if you get a Remap, it's a lot of extra performance, 100 horsepower more for only a small outlay. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go and do it because there are risks. It does invalidate the warranty and it will increase the wear on the engine's components. But hopefully in this video I've given you a good overview of the pros and the cons. And I've got to say that if you do want to go down that route and you want to get that extra power, then Racing Line, they seem to be good people to talk to, because this car felt excellent and the way that it delivered its power, I'm really impressed.
If you want to know more about Racing Line products, then check out the link in the description box below. And also, why not like this video, subscribe to the Parker's channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss another episode on the Audi S3 or any of our car reviews with Hope Ellen.